Hello everybody, my name is Garrett Manioki, and I am the creator of the solo music project known as Blackboard, also the creator of this YouTube channel here. So I'm going to be in the process, essentially, of rebranding / converting my YouTube channel into my music channel. And by that, what I mean is the stuff that I make myself, so my solo music, and also maybe some fun videos about music in the future. I have some ideas for ones that I'd like to do. So that will be very fun to finally execute after having ideas for over a year at this point for those. But in this video, what I wanted to do is I want to give you a little bit of a history on how the Blackboard project started and kind of explain my rationale with the project and what it might end up being in the future. What's to come, basically. The Blackboard music project, which is just the name I work under for my solo stuff. It's not an alias for me at all, so it's not a new name or stage name or anything like that. It's just like a name for my project. So I officially started the Blackboard music project in sometime in the summer of 2015. I was over at my friend Nick's house for a pool party, who was in a band with me called Reverse Ecology way back in high school. And I was talking to my friend Zach, who's a fellow bandmate in that band. He mentioned to me he wanted to create his own solo band, essentially, and to have me drum in it. So him saying that actually gave me an idea, and that idea was to make my own solo stuff. But here's the thing, I already had a lot of songs written on my own prior to him saying that. I started writing songs more on my own in the summer of 2014. I started to write them on piano, but I eventually moved to guitar once I learned how to play it. I was given this guitar here by my mom's at the time boyfriend. It's a Hagstrom Viking. It's a fantastic guitar. So he gave it to me just to have me learn guitar, just to get used to playing it. So that's what I ended up doing. I learned the basic chords and all that stuff, just all the basic stuff that you would learn when you're learning guitar for the first time. Taught all that myself, and eventually I felt comfortable enough with the chords to where I started to just make chord progressions, which would then turn into songs. I would go into my mom's office, which I would just take the acoustic guitar that was given to me, and I would go in the office and just like play around on the guitar, just learn chords, all that fun stuff, and make songs. I had written a lot of songs from that time period up until when Zach told me about his solo band idea. So I had a lot of songs that I thought were just going to be Reverse Psychology songs, like the 1 or 2 songs that I would contribute on an album. But the band didn't really last too long. We're still not necessarily broken up, but we're not really active. And honestly, I'm kind of glad that it didn't work out in that respect, because these songs were not quite stylistically what Reverse Psychology were. Reverse Psychology was more of a hard rock band influenced by heavy metal and progressive rock mainly. And the songs I was writing were more melodic, they were more pretty, they were more pop rock, alt rock kind of songs that may have fit okay, but not quite as well as the general tracks in the Reverse Ecology discography that we were writing. So when I got home from that pool party, what I did is I curated a list of most of the songs that I had written from that time period into a track list. And that track list is the genesis for what would become my debut album, Sounds and Words. Now keep in mind, this is 2015. Sounds and Words did not end up getting released until 2019, so it took a few years for it to finally come into fruition. But this is where it all started. I had 16 songs that I gathered into a track list, which ended up being 17 once I wrote another song, and I added that onto the track list. So progress for the album was a little slow. I had drums recorded, I had started to get guitar recorded very little bit, had like Zach and Nick do some parts and stuff like that. Throughout 2017, there was a decent amount of what ended up on the album getting recorded this year. And 2018 was one of the more formative years for the album, because I ended up releasing this album as the completion of my senior capstone in college. You had to have some sort of creative thing you had to do, and one of those things you could do was make music. So I had this album already written, and I figured it'd be good to actually like finish it, because it's something I wanted to do anyway, and this was really the best way for me to be able to finish it. So I took the opportunity and was like, fuck it, let's just do it. So what I did is, once I came up with the idea to have the album be my capstone, I went and I re-listened to all the demos that I had, and I did some cutting. The album went from 17 tracks to the 11 that you hear on the final product of Sounds and Words, and honestly, I don't regret cutting any song that I did, because not that they were bad songs, but I felt they were some of the weaker songs that I had written during that time period, and they would have stood out as filler on the album. So I was like, we'll have quality over quantity, and I don't mind having these 11 songs here that I, to this day, think are still incredibly strong songs. I ended up doing more of the recording in 2019, and getting a lot of my guests to appear during this time period, which was kind of a crazy time, considering the fact that I did end up having a lot of guests, and I had to do a lot of planning in order to get the album done when I had to get it done. But eventually, Sounds and Words came out on May 10th, 2019, and it's a time I look back on very, very fondly. I still really love Sounds and Words in terms of it being my debut album. I'm still incredibly proud of all these songs. I think they're great. I love how nostalgic they do make me feel, because they were really old songs of mine, and they still feel good to this day. I like hearing them. My biggest critique with my own album, though, is just the sound of it, the production. I do think it's a little bit thin, too quiet, because I was really scared of it being too overcompressed, or people perceiving it as too overcompressed, so I didn't want to make it that, and I think in return I just made it a little bit too quiet. So if there was really anything major I could change about it nowadays, it'd be that. The actual songs, though, I wouldn't change anything about them. I like them the way they are, so yeah. That's Sounds and Words. That's my first album in the Blackboard project, and that is really the first of what was to come in the project. Since then, I have released some more projects, but not too many. But after I finished college, I had to figure out what I was going to do next. Now, I had an album written. Another album was already written. It was done. So I did the same thing of listening to the demos I had made, and eventually I decided to scrap it. Now, I will say, this is an album that I have actually brought the idea for back from the dead, so it's going to happen one day. I'm not going to say what it is, because I don't want to spoil it for everybody, but it's going to happen one day, or I'd like it to at least, but it will not be album number 2. So I had to start new, basically, with what is still in progress, album number 2, and again, I'm not going to say what it is, because I don't want to spoil what I'm doing for this project, but I will say it is different stylistically from Sounds and Words, and that is something that the Blackboard project is dependent upon. I have thought from the beginning that Blackboard would be a project where I essentially do whatever the hell I want, whenever I want. And that rationale has only gotten stronger over the years since I've been musically educating myself more, and also coming up with more ideas for other projects. So I have a lot of ideas for other projects in the Blackboard sphere. I don't know when they'll come out, because I need to finish this album first, and then so on and so forth, but yeah, there are ideas for projects in the Blackboard canon that are vastly different from what I'm doing now, and all these ideas right now are pretty project specific in terms of a genre that I'm choosing to use for that project. So yeah, stay tuned for future projects, because I will be changing my sound again and again and again. I'm just going to warn you all now that Blackboard will never be the same thing all the time. That's not going to be the case. It may feel like different bands or different projects altogether because the genres shift, but no, everything will be under the name Blackboard as its main project. Since Sounds and Words, I wanted this second album to be the next thing that I released, but it's still being worked on. But since then, I have released some things in the Blackboard project, namely the track Handling All Hammers Among Really Hectic Untidy Salamanders in 2021, which was a track that I originally had written and made for a noise compilation split sort of thing that was going to be like a group chat wide thing in an older group chat I was in, but that never ended up panning out, so I was like, I'm just going to release the song on my own. So I did. I released it in 2021, and already the Blackboard project is changing, because Sounds and Words ended up being, pop rock and alt rock, very jangly and stuff. There's, folky songs on there. There's some proggy stuff on there as well. And then you have the song, which is just like a full-on, really rhythmic, dissonant noise song. So, again, proof that Blackboard will consistently change. And then in 2023, I released the EP It's Christmas in Time, which basically proves that Blackboard is a multi-genre project by every song being a different genre. I made a video on that a while ago talking about the whole thing, so check out that video if you are curious about it. And also listen to the EP. It is out everywhere, on streaming, on Bandcamp, all that good stuff. I released that towards the end of 2023. I also released the Project Submission, which is a split with my friend Michael Baer from the dissonant death metal music project Ecliptic, who also had a shitpost project called Toilet Penis, which I participated in for the split, where it's just really stupid, random cybergrind stuff. Oh, and a Doomgaze song, because why not? Shitposts are fun. Now, the most recent thing to come out of the Blackboard project is a music video for the track A Black Metal Christmas from the It's Christmas in Time EP. That video got released at the end of 2024, almost 2 months ago at the time that I'm recording this, and it did some pretty good numbers in its first week. It got to 1,000 views really quickly. I was like, that's kind of actually pretty awesome. So thank you for everyone that checked that out. I do highly appreciate it. I think the video turned out to be very, very good, and had a lot of fun doing it, and maybe there'll be more music videos to come with songs of mine down the road. So while I'm still working on my second album, I am always coming up with more ideas for music, so there will never be a shortage of Blackboard music, or at least I hope not, because I wouldn't want that to be the case. I like making stuff, I like being creative, and I hope that, you know, the stuff pans out, and that I get to make what I want to make, and keep making what I want to make, and that you'll all hopefully enjoy it. So yeah, that's basically it for the Blackboard history. Hope y'all enjoyed this video. If you are curious about more stuff for the Blackboard project, subscribe to this channel. I do not plan on it being inactive. Also follow my social media. I will post Bandcamp links for all of my stuff, and hope you all enjoy.